everyone, and welcome to A Cup of Coffee. My name is Amaan. I'm here with my co-host Umar and our guest Hummad. Hummad, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Hummad. I am a junior at UT Dallas studying biology, but my passion lies in filmmaking and 3D art, or not filmmaking, but movies in general.
Awesome.
So we're gonna start off with what are you a nerd about, but I think you got that knocked
Okay,
out right
so
away.
should we
So
go
yeah,
back?
no,
if you want to
we'll
go, if
just
you want to
start.
go a little more in depth about those things, then by
All
all
right.
means, this is all you.
So I've always liked watching movies, like even as a kid, but lately it's been like more of I don't want to say problem, but I spend way too much time watching movies and video essays, all that kind of stuff. And lately, I've also gotten into 3D art, making 3D models, trying to express myself through that. Um, yeah.
That's dope.
So what about movies that you particularly enjoy? Like, is it like the characters or film cinematography or sound design? Like, what
I
particular
like
trait
how
about
everything
movies?
combines to form a message. Like, if you want to make a movie about friendship, you can make a Darman video saying, wow, friend bullies somebody and then he gets punished. Or you can make the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which is a story about a group of friends who go on an adventure, and it's supplemented with the great cinematography, sound design, editing that makes it the work of art that it is. So, yeah, how the overall message is displayed through those means.
So kind of like the directing way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think just the way that everything creates a like that kind of picture, like you kind of recognize it. So like, I mean, I feel like for you, Hamad, or like for any of us, but probably for you because you're really into movies. There was probably a point that like you started recognizing all the things that went into creating a good movie, but like
Mhm.
before that, I'm sure that still affected you. You just weren't like actively paying attention to it. Like when you were a kid and you saw like some really cool movie, and then you were just like thinking about it for the next few days, and you were like, like saw Pirates of the Caribbean, and you were just like in the world of pirates for a few days after that, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Like it still affected you, but now you get to appreciate why that affects you. So I guess like my question based off of that is like, do you want like do you actively watch movies like thinking about all the things that they're doing well, or do you like
I try not to. I
yeah.
try to just be in the moment, but I end up being like, "Holy crap, that was a good cut,"
Yeah.
or "Holy crap, I loved how the lighting looked." I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It
Sort of in the same
it
vein,
stands
like
out.
yeah, like sort of in the same vein, like when watching a movie, like I'm sure if you've watched enough movies, and I know that you use Letterbox a lot, right? Or used to.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
used to.
yeah, but like basically, when you watch enough movies, you start to look at movies more critically and less, you start to analyze them more from how good they are from a filmmaking perspective, and not just as I'm enjoying a movie in the moment. Do you have trouble separating those two mindsets?
Um, I don't know. There's like some movies that are you're watching for how it looks, if like it looks beautiful, but there's also some movies that you're watching for the message. I'm not sure how I separate that. I just feel like an
Uh,
instinctive kind of thing.
Not really. It was more like you know how you can enjoy a bad movie
Hmm.
because you're not looking at it critically. Like, if you're
Yeah.
watching like a Fast and Furious movie, you're going to go into
Hmm.
that. You're going to turn off your brain. You're going to enjoy it. But
Yeah.
like a movie with similar quality that's like a fantasy, you won't do the same thing because you expect more of it, right? Even if you, but like what I'm trying to say is in those two movies had the same quality, but one you go in with your brain turned off and one you go in, you know, not looking at it critically, right?
Hmm.
Well, looking at it critically. So I'm just saying, how do you separate the critic's mindset from like a casual movie going experience?
I'm actually not sure how I do it. I'll admit it.
How does he do
I don't know how I do it.
it?
It just happens.
It's just all
um,
natural.
but yeah, I do watch bad movies with a different lens that I do. good movies.
Yeah, I guess there's
But
just
I
like
just
expectations that you go into it with. Like I wouldn't
yeah.
if it's just like some random movie that like I'm like with my friends and they're like, oh, this looks like dumb, we'll just go like watch it, right? And
Mm.
then like we'll just have a good time. Versus like if I'm going on opening night to see the new Spider-Man movie, I'm gonna have a lot of expectations. So I guess
Mm.
it'd be like expectations going into it, but I think along those lines, like there's so many different ways in which that you can like appreciate a movie, and so much that like going to the theaters versus like watching something at home and just appreciating the beauty of it does for like the movie experience. So like how has that changed for you growing up, like the way that you used to see movies, and like what are the different ways in which that you enjoy it, and like why do you love I know we all love watching movies, but since you have a particular interest in it, you can probably give us a little more insight into like what makes films so amazing.
Um. Well, I saw when I was younger. I would just watch movies with the family. We'd have like movie night where we'd get popcorn and sit in front of the TV, watch a movie at night, which is probably still my favorite way to watch a movie. But of course, that doesn't happen as much. I nowadays just watch on my laptop. I even watch them while I'm like doing exercise or stuff outside. Just have the laptop to the side and watching.
Nice.
But yeah, I like watching like Devoted, so in theaters or with the family. How the movie did how the movie going experience has changed. Um, I don't know. With my I have watched a lot more movies now than when I was younger, so I do make a lot of comparisons with other movies.
Mhm.
Whenever I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this movie did the same thing. I
Mhm.
can't think of a movie without thinking this is A plus B and this is C. The
Oh,
combination of those two.
yeah.
It's
Seeing a lot of movies, you
interesting.
probably see that a lot. Just the,
Yeah,
Yeah, the same
like the,
tropes
mhm.
or
the
influences.
callbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I didn't like understand so many tropes until I watched Shawshank, and then I was like, oh my god, that's where they get like every prison movies, like every prison movie's based off of this.
Or like when
Yeah.
you watch a lot of fantasy, you saw a lot of fantasy before you watched Star Wars, which I did. I watched Star Wars until I was like 10 or 11, but I watched a whole bunch of fantasy before that. And then you watch Star Wars and you're like, why are all of these movies are ripping off Star Wars?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if you're
And
like,
I felt that Star Wars ripped off of Dune.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Is anything truly original?
yeah.
Mm,
Because like I watched like Aragon a couple years ago. The movie's not very good. The book's not very good
we don't
either.
talk about that.
The book's not that good
Yeah,
either. Looking back,
I I don't know how my brother read through all of them. I just
but the
remember
first
loving
one,
it.
the first one is literally fantasy Star Wars. It's medieval Star Wars. It has the same plot
Wow.
structure. Like the guy's, adopted parents die. He gets a superpower. His mentor dies. How it's exactly the same. It's really interesting to see like how
Wow.
different media takes influence from each other. But yeah, speaking of bad movies,
Mhm.
what's a movie that everyone seems to like, and critics seem to love it, people seem to love it, but you just can't buy it. But it's not enjoyable at all.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this.
Oh no, it's gonna be a Marvel movie.
It is.
I knew it.
um, what was it called? Spider-Man. No Way Home, the newest one.
No.
I mean, I get why it's so good, but the thing is, you need so much nostalgia behind it to make it good. Like
Oh,
I honestly don't care for the OG Raimi Spider-Man,
oh
and
man.
that's what it relies on. It's like you have to like these movies to like this movie. Um, on the other side of the field, I actually liked Suicide Squad,
The
the one
first,
Wow.
the
with
first,
Jared Leto as the Joker.
uh, I
I.
can't,
Yeah.
Oh no.
I can't even enjoy,
Oh.
I can't even enjoy that movie from like a Fast and Furious brain type movie. It's just, I, I can't,
Oh my god.
like,
Oh, that's.
it's just,
Anyways, sorry, some technical difficulties, but the bottom line is that Hummad is canceled. because he likes Suicide Squad
Hey,
and
hey.
not and not Spider-Man. Oh man, that's, I mean, how? Okay, I like
No,
somewhat
I liked it.
understand.
I just don't think it's as good as people say. I don't think it's nearly as good as
Okay,
people
but
say.
like,
But it's all right.
okay, I can understand that, but like, what's a good movie that you just despise?
Mm. I don't know. Is Free Guy a good movie? I hated that.
You didn't like Free Guy at all? I liked it.
Yeah, it might be my worst movie that came out in 2021.
Really? Why? Why didn't you like it?
It was. Have you seen it?
I've seen it. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
There's that
I,
one
I
scene towards the end of it where
Almost
he
getting
like pulls out the
spoiled.
lightsaber and the Avengers music plays and he has the Captain America shield too,
That
and then he like
was
Hulk smashes
that was
somebody.
kind of cringe. I'm not.
That scene ruined the whole movie for me. I'm not
Really,
gonna
that
lie.
one scene just ruined everything.
That one
I was
scene.
willing to forget about it. I was like, yeah, we'll just pretend that didn't happen.
And then I saw like when I had Letterboxd at that time when I was looking at the reviews, people were like, "Oh my god, they got what's the name, Chris Evans in the movie. Oh my god, he has a lightsaber. Oh my god."
I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I think like people just loving stuff for the sake of loving it, is like not great. But I think like the reason I like that movie is because I went in with like not very many expectations. I was like, this is just a casual. I was watching it on a plane. I just need something to watch to pass the time so that I can get back to my house. So like I was just like, this looks chill. So I didn't really care when I was watching it. I didn't really have expectations. I just thought it was gonna be dumb. I was like, it's Ryan Reynolds, so I can expect like him to be funny. But other than that, I didn't know anything or expect much. I think that's why I
I
liked
also
it.
didn't like the Twitch streamers in it. That was another thing I didn't
Oh
like.
yeah, I don't know about that one.
They had Pokemon and they had Ninja.
When
They had,
Ninja came in, I was
Who else did they have? I don't remember.
yeah, I didn't.
But they had some other people.
Yeah,
I plan on seeing it eventually on like my movie night or something.
Okay, I'm
because it's
sorry
on
I
Disney
didn't. I
Plus
hope
now.
I didn't ruin it for you, Omar.
it's not a bad movie.
No,
I just don't
I
have any
mean,
expectations.
I didn't have expectations. Right?
Perfect. You'll love it. All right.
Sorry. Yeah, I think more on expectations. Is there any time you went into a theater with extremely high expectations and just walked away like, I want a refund?
Dune. I had been hyped for Dune for like 3 years since it was first announced that Denis Villeneuve was directing it. I was like, okay, I've heard a lot about this book. I'll even start reading the book for the movie, and it was all right. It was a good movie, but it's just my expectations were way too high for it. It could have never lived up to it. It felt a lot like they had to stuff some characters in there because they advertised that this actress or actor is in the movie and stuff like that. It felt a lot like it was forced. I'm not sure if that's describing it well, but the movie was still really good.
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah, just backing up of what you said about you really enjoying Dennis Villeneuve's movies. I'm pronouncing that wrong. Yeah. So, what's your favorite movie?
It's also a Denis Villeneuve movie, Blade Runner 2049. A lot of people already know this, but that movie is amazing. I'll admit it doesn't have the best narrative, but it looks so good that it doesn't even matter. I love cyberpunk aesthetic.
Yeah.
Futuristic cyberpunk, near future, I guess. And that just does such a good job of describing the grittiness, but also in that grittiness, there's a inner beauty of a city and how it functions, I guess. And it also has a good philosophical message of what does it mean to be human. The movie has a overarching theme of the main character trying to figure out if his memories are implanted or if his memories are actually his. It gets to the point where it's like, does it even matter if your memories are yours because you have the memories? So that makes you human, right? It's very thought provoking.
Wow.
Oh, my memory is mine.
That sounds insane. So, yeah, that cyberpunk aesthetic is so cool, and just like I love movies that make you think, or like any kind of TV show or movie that's just like you just kind of like sit there and stare at the ceiling afterwards, and you're just like, am I really? Those are always good. That's how you know. I think like a movie doesn't have to be, it doesn't always. I think that's another beautiful thing about like this kind of creative expression is like movies don't have to have a happy ending. Like they can choose whether or not like, and I mean even if they do have a happy ending, like they don't have to make you feel good necessarily. Yeah, like they have to make you feel some sort of emotion. That's what I'm looking for. Is like, okay, if you make me like feel sad on a scale like, but it's like a 9 out of 10 for sadness, right? I feel like that's sad versus like 7 out of 10 happy. Like I would prefer the movie that makes me feel sad just because it invoked more emotion.
Yeah, I think that's why like we tend to like you'd prefer a really bad movie or over a movie that's just meh and just leaves you with nothing.
Yeah,
at least
it has to be one of the two extremes.
Yeah, like with a really bad movie, at least you can laugh at it or you can feel really angry at it for wasting your time or something. Like for a meh movie, you're just left with nothing. Like we both went to see Solo a couple of years ago, and neither of us remember anything about the movie.
Yeah,
I like Solo.
I'm sure you did.
I have no.
I don't remember what
happened. There, Solo, that first poster.
Oh wow! Oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
Lando. Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it just left me with nothing, and I don't think about the movie.
Yeah, and not like left me with nothing in the sense of like it left me empty. Like I just don't remember what happened. Like. So Solo was fun. If they played Han Solo in the credits, that would have been much better. I would have definitely remembered it, but they didn't do that. So I think forgettable movies are probably worse for me than movies that are just so bad that you like remember how bad they are. A few days ago, I watched the Blair Witch Trials with some of my friends, or like probably like last week or something. Watched the Blair Witch Trials.
Blair Witch Project, actually.
Sorry, my bad. I'm a fake fan, but. I like we didn't really enjoy the movie that much because we were expecting like a lot because we were just like, oh my god, it's gonna be a horror. It has like for a horror movie, there's like pretty good reviews, and we're just like ready to get scared. And like the whole time we we're just like waiting for something to happen, and like nothing was happening. And so then we just started laughing at like the awkward cuts when like they would just be like yelling at each other, and then it would cut to them just like to being totally fine. We were like, this is just so funny. But I guess like. At the time, and part of the movie is like that.
Yeah, I think it's a product of its time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very dated now because everyone's done that and better.
So I thought it was cool, but I definitely like also enjoyed just trashing on it with my friends. That was fun.
I think Blair Witch was the first ever found footage film, or that style of film. Oh, that's why it's popular, I guess.
Probably, yeah. I think it's interesting that you can have like that kind of a genre just like stem from a certain like movie, and you could just go back and be like, wow, this is where it all started. And it's funny, like anime has such specific genres. I heard the other day that there's a genre. What is the genre for Konosuba, Umar?
Isekai.
Yeah, isekai.
It's
an incredible
gets transported to a fantasy world.
Yeah, like that's a very specific genre. Like, I was like,
it happens so often that it has its own name.
Yeah, it's just so funny that like because I was describing the plot to someone and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's a whole genre," and I was like, "What? I thought this was like its own show," and they were like, "No, there's a ton of shows that do that." I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll take it. Like I like that." But
yeah, like whenever something is really popular, it tends to spawn a whole bunch of stuff that's like trying to spin off of that. Like I think the isekai genre sort of spun off of Sword Art Online being popular in like 2012.
100%.
Yeah, so and just like how all those found footage horror movies in the early 2000s were influenced by Blair Witch, like the Paranormal Activity series.
Yeah, that became huge at the time. Speaking of genres, Hummad, what is your favorite genre?
Sci-fi. I like sci-fi movies. They challenge how you think. That whole what makes somebody human. That's really cool. Time travel is fun, which is also sci-fi, I guess. I just like how sci-fi is very close to home. It's very You can say it's very realistic, but it has like one aspect that it just twists a little bit, and it makes a whole movie off of that one aspect. Like time travel, it's just a normal world, but now you can travel through time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I like how, close to home and yet so different at the same time.
I could say this. Doctor Who does kind of sci-fi, right? I'm not.
I think so.
Yeah, I've like I haven't like I literally know like little to nothing about Doctor Who, but I'm pretty sure it's sci-fi. So, and I know that you freaking love Doctor Who. So,
Doctor Who, so good.
How many seasons are there now?
Most of my favorite shows are about sci-fi.
Okay.
Yeah, Doctor Who, Cowboy Bebop, Steins Gate, Mr. Robot.
Yeah, I haven't seen Mr. I heard Mr. Robot's really good as well. I haven't seen that though. But yeah, sci-fi as a genre is great. I kind of like. I really loved. So it was funny when I was growing up. I didn't know that the Star Wars prequels were bad, and I just loved Revenge of the Sith. So like, I still think that Revenge of the Sith is a good movie. But the other two, I was just like, I didn't really watch those that much, but I would just come home from school every day and just watch Revenge of the Sith over and over again.
That's the third one, right? Yeah. Is that the third one?
Yeah, and so I would just freaking love that movie. So that was my experience with sci-fi as a child, and so I like got into Star Wars. My friends would like buy the Legos and like we play like the Lego games and stuff like that. But I think beyond Star Wars, I never really ventured that far into sci-fi, but I probably should.
Hey, you watch the Marvel movies; those are basically sci-fi.
That's true. Yeah, Endgame had some time travel in it, so and we got multiverse.
I was about to say Doctor Who, Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is very sci-fi. No, actually, he's just magic. Who's?
Oh, okay.
Is there like a line between science and magic? I mean, Iron Man's very sci-fi. You want to think?
I
feel
sci-fi a lot of the time will just, sometimes they'll just be like, this is science. You're just like, that's definitely magic. They pretend.
Yeah.
The Jurassic Park movies.
It's like Iron Man, like Iron Man's tech, Infinity War. Like, that's definitely.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, it's nanotech.
Yeah, nanotech, because that makes
something quantum.
Yes, in the quantum realm, things work like this. It's like, yeah, because you can make that up because no one really knows what happens in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Whenever you don't want to be magic, you just stick the words nanochip or nanotech in quantum.
It's like whenever you're talking about like computers, you just throw in the word mainframe, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's hacking!" Like, that's basically like.
It's just rapidly tapping their keyboards.
Yeah. My favorite scene for like computers and hacking in any show ever was in Arrow when they were like hacking each other's computers, and from like one side, like he just blew up the other guy's computer. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. You can't just blow up someone's computer. That's not how this works. It was so stupid. That was definitely. But I just couldn't. I couldn't take it seriously.
I was watching.
I guess I wouldn't be excited if they actually hacking. It's just one guy tapping a few lines, clicking a couple times, Googling something.
How to center a div. He's just like Googling random computer science concepts, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is so cool."
or like my favorite trope. But they like say it in English, and the guy said it's relatively straightforward.
Yeah. Oh my god!
It's like he's using a VPN, like they just say it in English.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's so funny. What am you saying?
I was saying that I was watching recently The Purge, the TV show for it. There's one hacking scene, and while she's hacking, you see on the computer the YouTube play bar appear because she's just watching a video of somebody hacking.
That's so funny. Oh my god!
I can't cut it out.
That's so funny, dude. I love when there's just.
That's actually more realistic.
That's true, technically. Yeah. Just Google the video of how to hack. That would be that's so funny. I remember in Game of Thrones when they left a Starbucks cup on the set and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Starbucks does not exist in this world. It's so, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know how they managed to let that slip. Like, it's just a freaking in.
It just shows you like how much is involved. That like even a production that huge can make a mistake that big.
Yeah.
And not notice it until they publish
Well,
it.
they made a lot of mistakes, so I'm not gonna get into that. but
Yeah, I think that Starbucks cup was pretty emblematic of that whole season.
I think so. Honestly.
Like, I wasn't a Game of Thrones fan, but just like watching the whole fallout on social media about once beloved being universally hated by everyone who watched it.
Once the best show that you would ever have watched ever, and everyone who watched it would tell you like, oh my God, you have to watch this show. Going from that all the way to literally, there's I think one small Reddit community that actually enjoys the show. There's like 5,000, like I think there's like 10,000 of them now, versus like the 10 million that are on the sub that hate it. So there's a lot of people that just don't like. But I can't go on and on about Game of Thrones and how bad it is. But I would love to hear more about you, Hummad. And we talked a lot about movies, and we could get back to that if we have time. But I'm really, really excited to talk about your experience with 3D art and just your creative because we've talked about film as creative expression, but your experience with expressing your thoughts and your feelings creatively through the medium of 3D art. Just go into that a little bit. Tell us what it's like.
So I'll start out by saying the first ever piece of 3D art I made was a donut. It had pink frosting and rainbow sprinkles. I followed a tutorial for that, and it turned out pretty well. But since then, I've made a lot better. I made ice cream with sprinkles.
Wow. Ice cream's probably a lot harder to make.
Yeah, because it has the little swirly thing.
Yeah.
But after I got my basics on it, I used Blender. It's a free 3D software. Strongly recommend it. Put like 2 hours into learning it. Follow the donut tutorial that I followed. Yeah, I like. After I started getting into it, I just realized that I can do whatever I want in here. Like with film, you have to have actors, you have to have a microphone, you have to have a camera, you have to have a plan, you have to have a script. And if you make a mistake, you have to redo it. But with 3D art, all you need is a computer. Not even that great of a computer. You just need a computer and the experience to know what you're doing. I don't need actors.
Yeah. You can make your own app.
Yeah. So exactly, I just get a 3D model of somebody online and put them into situations that I want to put them in.
Yeah.
But I found that.
Yeah, keep going.
Well, I found that with 3D art, I can. I already said this, but I can express myself in new ways. I don't know where to go from here, but like.
Yeah, I mean, what about 3D art specifically, as opposed to digital 2D art? That appeals to you?
To be completely honest, I just never tried 2D art. Also, I'm not very good at painting or drawing. With 3D art, it's all geometric. Like I can have a cube, and then I say, "Oh, divide this 4 times and then 2 times, and make those windows." That's a building. Okay. With 2D art, I would need to know how a window looks.
I mean, not necessarily. It's just a square at that point, and then you just divide it up and put it in the windows. But I guess it's less impressive in 2D art to just do that. There's probably higher expectations.
Also, you have the freedom of doing different angles in 3D art. I can make my scene and then put the camera wherever I want. With 2D art, I imagine that would be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
You kind of have a fixed angle in 2D art, and you have to do everything to make sure you're not deviating from that perspective.
Yeah. And you can do a lot of cool things
unless you are, unless you're doing deviating from it on purpose, which is,
then you're just next level. You're allowed to break the rules if you want. But if you're in an English class, you can't really.
Shakespeare did it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And how many people like Shakespeare right now, Umar? 2.
Oh, controversial. But 3D art
Uh,
No, I'm
is
kidding.
dope. If you,
so, like, if you, as someone who's a 3D artist, do you often pay attention to CGI in movies and stuff?
I do. Yeah. I mean, the only CGI you notice is the one that's bad, right? You don't notice
Right.
good CGI.
yeah,
Um, yeah, if you guys have seen The Social Network, the one common fact about it is that it has more CGI shot or more visual effects in it than Godzilla
really.
because it's done so well.
Dang.
But the thing is that with CGI in movies, I don't know if I want to bash on people, but a lot of people do like just say that it's bad and then end of story. But there's corporations made for CGI and they have to appeal to the director's what's it called, whims, I
Yeah.
guess, and that sometimes can be resulting in like it not looking perfect.
Yeah.
Also, time constraints, things like that. It results in mediocre or bad CGI.
Yeah, that's true. I've never seen someone be like walk out of a movie and be like, "Oh my god, the CGI was so good in that." They're usually just like, that was trash, man. Like I could definitely it just didn't feel real at all. Yeah, it's funny. Like no one ever compliments the animators the way that they should that they
Yeah.
deserve to be complimented. Sometimes they do a really really good job.
I
Yeah,
started
unless
using
it's
Blender for CGI. I was like, I want to put explosions in videos that I take,
Oh,
and
uh,
I
I
tried doing
like
that.
that.
It's very
it sounds
difficult.
hard. Yeah.
I just tried to like I would take a video of a wall and I tried to put like an air conditioning unit on the wall and I couldn't even do that. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But it made me appreciate visual effects artists a lot
Oh
more.
yeah. You start to realize all the intricacies that go into everything they have to do, and you're like, wow, they probably pour in a lot of time into this, and just to get as good as they are, and even then, it takes probably a ton of time to make what they do. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. So, I mean, what about particularly about creative expression has 3D art opened up for you? And if you want to talk a little bit about your pieces in particular, you can go ahead. We would love that.
All right. So I'll say during COVID, I was a lot like everybody else got like super depressed. I was like, what the heck am I doing with my life? I'm inside all day. So I started spending more time on 3D art, trying to show what I was feeling inside, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, you guys might have seen, you guys can put it on screen if you want. I made a person working in a very claustrophobic room with a laptop as his only light source. I don't know. I was just thinking how much time I spend in front of my computer, and I I was like, how to express this. So yeah, I made that. Thought put some alterations in it, made him like I don't know, strapped in, I guess, but strapped in using his life supply or his blood, just showing that this is his life. This is all there is.
That was
Um,
cool.
yeah, I like to express myself with how I can depict myself in a 3D setting through a virtual camera in a virtual environment. It's a lot easier than actually just telling people how I feel.
Yeah, and also there's some things that you just can't express with words sometimes. I mean, how do you express certain emotions through words that you can just like show them, like how you feel instead. And I think that's the incredible thing about art in general. And I definitely felt something seeing that piece for the first time. That was
Thank you.
yeah, it was like
I'm honored.
yeah. Hey man, got you on the podcast, so there's a reason for it. But I think that piece and just like in general, yeah, that whole time period in which we were just sitting inside, like it just felt so everything got so repetitive, and so I think we could all relate to a piece like that, just sitting in front of your computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I mean, it's been what, almost 2 years now?
No. It's been,
Almost.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But just wondering, like, do you think there's any connection between, a deeper connection between your love of movies and your interest in 3D art?
I mean, definitely. I wouldn't have started doing 3D art if I didn't want to make movies myself. That whole I want to put an explosion in a scene got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known what an explosion was if I hadn't seen a movie.
Maybe you would have seen one. You know,
I don't think I've ever seen one in real life.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen explosions with your own eyes?
No, maybe I'm like you.
So much. Aman's watched a few slow-mo guys videos.
But
those are movies too, right?
I guess so. Okay, if you want to get philosophical.
Maybe do YouTube videos count as?
Oh no.
And why wouldn't they?
What defines a movie?
I guess technically they're movies because they're a recording of something happening.
They're moving pictures.
Which, I mean, I guess our podcast is also a movie.
Yeah.
Well, life is a movie.
Hey, we made a movie together.
That's true, actually.
Directed by Umar and Amaan, starring Hummad.
Oh, wow, dude. That's what, dude, low-key for the start of this episode, we could just have, like, the credits roll in, you know? Oh, man.
We should have the end, the whole black screen, and then...
Oh, yeah. We'll have the end credits roll in. If I end up feeling like editing that, you'll know.
Okay.
I think you also mentioned earlier that you're a fan of like video essays.
I am. I love watching video. I mean, it's always it's like watching it's like going to class, but this time I got to choose what class I go to.
Yeah, that's the awesome thing about video essays. Do you have a particular like channel or like topic that you like watching videos about?
Just whatever movie I watch, if I like the movie, I just search it up on YouTube and I type video essay.
Nice.
There was one I watched recently. They were drawing a connection between Cowboy Bebop, my favorite TV show, and Blade Runner 2049, my favorite movie. And I was like, oh my god.
They made this for you.
Yeah. So it was actually really cool. I like that. They actually got the voice of Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop to voice some lines from Blade Runner.
Oh shoot, that's cool.
Very cool.
Must have been like a dream come true.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
It only came out like earlier this week too.
Wow.
It's great.
Yeah. Sometimes you watch a movie and you're just like, I need to see what I thought of it because I don't completely understand. Like that was me after watching The Green Knight. Like I watched 3 or 4 articles.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm too stupid to understand all the symbolism. Someone else has to.
Yeah, I need to. I can't judge this movie just yet. I don't have the knowledge. Or sometimes I'll look at reviews because I don't like. I need to be validated by other people's opinions before making my own.
That's true. I often will read good reviews after watching a movie I thought it was good. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm smart too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not the only one that liked this movie.
Recently, I watched a movie called Enemy. It's another Denis Villeneuve movie. I didn't get what was going on the whole time, but so then I had to watch. It was similar to your experience with The Green Knight. I just watched the video and I'm like, oh, I thought it was like pointlessly confusing, but it's interesting now that I understand what was going on.
Definitely, I think those movies. I mean, we got Christopher Nolan now, who makes movies purposely confusing. Yeah, I still haven't seen. Have you seen Tenet?
I watched it twice.
And you still haven't seen Interstellar.
No, we didn't do the surprising thing.
Yeah.
I have not seen Interstellar.
Oh my god, you haven't seen Interstellar? Oh man, that's nuts.
You know Timothy Chalamet's in it?
You
know Timothy Chalamet is in Interstellar?
He's in Interstellar? I didn't know that.
There's a lot of good actors in Interstellar, man. They got Matt.
He plays like he plays like a minor character. I can't remember who he plays, but like, that's one of his first.
Yeah, they had a ton of good actors. I think every actor. It was such a good movie, man. You have to watch it, please.
I know I do. That and Mad Max Fury Road are 2 movies I need to see. I know I'm going to love, but I just haven't gone around to them yet.
Yeah, I need to see Mad Max Fury Road as well.
It's okay. There's a time.
Yeah. You ever have those movies where you're just like they're just permanently on your to-do list? You're just like they're gonna stay.
Interstellar and Mad Max Fury Road. And The Godfather. The Godfather is so long. I don't know when I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, just like you keep putting it off. You start watching other things that you weren't planning on watching, and it just stays there, and just this sense of guilt just
Yeah.
Oh
grows,
yeah,
and you're just like,
But then it grows so much, you're like, oh, when I do watch this, it has to be a very special setting.
yeah.
And then you're waiting for some special setting to watch that movie, and it never
I
comes.
know. I do the same thing with like games that I need to play, shows that I gotta watch. Omer knows with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's taken me like years to get around to it. Now I'm finally watching it. And then games to play, I just have like this incredibly long list, and I'm like, like I'll sit down and play this game when I have like a few hours. Then I have a few hours, and I'm like, I don't really feel like it.
yeah, that was me because like there's a lot of games because like I don't know, like I even bought the game and it's sitting there in my Steam library. I have it downloaded. It's taking up space. And I'm just like, I could play Hades
Yeah,
again.
exactly. For me, it was Rocket League. I was just every single time. I was just like, I could do this, or I could play Rocket League again. And that's the story of how I got to
It's,
1,500 hours in Rocket League.
it's why I can't hate up too much on people who just keep watching the over and over because I'm just like I'm doing the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Although I will say that if I'm like rewatching a show or something, like I'm definitely depressed. Like this is just not a good time for me. If I'm watching The Office again for like the third time, you guys will know I'm not okay. But if I'm watching anime, things are going well.
Yeah. Like I don't often rewatch stuff. Like there's a couple of things specifically I'll rewatch. Like Spider-Verse, I rewatched that several
Oh yeah,
times. Yeah, and like both Full Metal Alchemist series, I will rewatch every year.
yeah, rightfully so.
And sometimes, yeah, and like the only other time pretty much I'll rewatch is if I haven't seen it forever and I want to see it again, or like if something's getting a new season and I haven't watched. Like I rewatched the first two seasons of Attack on Titan, or rewatch, yeah, when season 4 was coming out because I stopped in the middle of two. I was like, I don't remember what happened except some people died and Titan was happy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
a lot more happened. And yeah, but I think like I also enjoy rewatching something if I want to like show it to someone, but I will often use that as an excuse just to see something again. So I'll just be like,
That's what I did with Full Metal Alchemist.
yeah,
I was like,
that's what I did with
come on, you have
Inside
to see it.
with you. I was just like, hey, Umar, you should really watch this Netflix special by Bo Burnham. It's really
I
good.
still haven't seen that.
It's so good, man. I think you really like it, man. I think everyone really like it, though. I am a little biased. I just absolutely love
The
it.
experience is kind of ruined. The experience is a little bit ruined for me because of TikTok.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, because of all the songs.
Yeah, you already like knew some of the stuff. I watched it like very early on.
Jeffrey,
So
Jeffrey Bezos.
yeah, I watched it
Don't give me
early on.
DMCA.
Yeah, I think if I had gotten on TikTok and heard like half the songs before
Yeah,
I'd seen the show, would have been odd. Yeah, it would have been a better experience for me.
exactly. I just loved it in general. I think like I really liked it, but like what hit me afterwards was just like thinking about it and then like listening to the songs afterwards and just being like, it was like a week of just like, oh my god, everything's pointless. We're all gonna die. It was a stare at the ceiling kind of week after that, but it was phenomenal. 100% recommend it. I would definitely throw it on your list, including Interstellar and Mad Max. But yeah, back to 3D art or just creative expression in general. Or I don't know. I mean, what are your, I guess like kind of nearing the end, like what are your thoughts on someone getting into, because I know that I've tried to get into art and I've tried to get into like ways that I can creatively express myself, because there's just some things that you can't express with words. What are your thoughts or like any advice to someone who's looking for that but just can't find the motivation? Because when you see like, oh, I guess I can't make an explosion to create my own movie, like, and you get to that point, like what was the turning point for you that you were like, I want to get into this anyways?
Just broaden your horizons. Try anything and everything. I started with trying to make a movie. I was really bad at that. Then I went to actually went to origami and tried to do a lot of weird origami stuff. I wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't fun. Then I tried 3D art and that clicked for me. I feel like everybody has something that clicked, whether it be art, 2D art, 3D art, poetry, literature, filmmaking. everybody should have something to express themselves with.
Yeah.
Just try everything and anything and everything.
Yeah, I like that. I think creative expression is one of the best ways to let certain things out instead of just bottling in whatever it is. Because sometimes it's like instead of just talking about it, because like sometimes you either don't want to talk about it or you just don't even know the words to describe like what you're feeling, and then you start like writing a poem or drawing something out, and then it ends up like putting itself together, which is a very beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
I definitely love that form of creativity. We've talked about it so many times, just how amazing art is.
You've had so many artists on here.
So many.
It's crazy.
But
honestly, like having artists on here is one of our favorite things, just because I don't know. I guess we really believe in human expression and creativity more than anything, just because I guess that's what makes us human, right? Because I don't know,
That's
if you
what
don't
makes
have
us
that.
human.
Oh my God!
Full circle.
Oh, no way! That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm very profound today.
Wow.
Yeah, just because yeah.
That's it.
I haven't even seen Blade Runner 2049.
Well, clearly, because I don't think that's the answer that they ended up with. but I think.
But yeah, I recommend everybody watch Blade Runner 2049. You don't even need to watch the first movie; just watch the sequel.
Amazing. No, I have to for this. So that's exciting. I think just creative expression and I think one of the craziest things to me, and I think a lot of people get this, is when you feel something that you're like, especially with nostalgia or something like that, that's like so difficult to like put into words, like what you're feeling at that point. You're just like, what is this? Or like traveling. A lot of the times you'll like go through, certain emotions and certain experiences and just be like, like, what is this that I'm feeling? But like, you don't like think that in the moment. You'll just be like afterwards. You'll just be like, man, I just want to like bottle that experience and like have it forever. But you can't really like when you tell someone like, oh, I did this when I was out and like on this trip, or like this was what happened to me last week. Like they truly will never like feel what you felt. But I think the closest that we can get to that is creating some form of art that can invoke that emotion, which I think is the most beautiful thing. And that was one of the reasons that I loved your piece, because it like kind of like bottled a certain emotion that I just didn't have the words to express myself. So
yeah, it's like that. In Ratatouille, the food critic, when he has that moment where he's just sucked back into his childhood eating something.
Yeah,
I think, for me, and I think for a lot of people, that really sort of encapsulated what nostalgia is really like, right? Because nostalgia, it's kind of hard to put into words normally. When you say just like, yeah, it's something I liked when I was a kid, but it's not exactly right.
yeah.
You don't have nostalgia. You like cheese when you were a kid. You don't have nostalgia for cheese.
Yeah.
It's like
I do.
It's like a
no, you have a nostalgia for the flavor of cheese.
True.
Yeah, exactly. It's something deeper and yeah, more something you feel from your soul than something physically.
Yeah, I think that that Ratatouille reference is the perfect thing to encapsulate all of the things that we've talked about today. With cinema, creative expression, nostalgia, all of it. I got chills when you said that. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's also a 3D animated movie.
It is a 3D animated movie. I think that Ratatouille
with no explosions.
Is that okay? I mean, it would have been dope if it had explosion. Yo, yes. There's our explosion. But yeah, I think that's the perfect way to just capture everything we've talked about today. And we like to, I know I've already kind of asked you for advice, but if there's any other kind of closing remark that you have before we end off, would love to hear it. So the stage is yours.
I'll say it's COVID. We're all depressed. We're all feeling different emotions. Find something to express yourself with. Don't leave yourself idle. With idleness, you become even more depressed. Stay active. Do stuff that makes you happy. If you, don't be sad.
I never thought about it like that.
Stop being sad, kid.
Well,
all right. Oh, thank you so much for being podcast, Hummad.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so everyone, we will see you when we see you next. And as always, be sure to follow us at A Cup of Coffee Pod on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And send us an email at acupofcoffee@gmail.com if you're interested in being on the podcast, questions, or concerns. Anyway, we'll see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.